Good morning, good morning. It's your boy, MUFCFAN. Guys, back in the morning news. I'm going to be giving you some morning updates as well as the transfer window gets into the final 3 weeks of the closing stages. And I shouldn't say 3 weeks, but 2 weeks and a couple days. It's going to be interesting. And guys, Man United is having a lot of problems. We have not purchased, we have not sold. Only reports of possible loans, possible deals to happen. Stuff is not happening, guys. What are we saying? How are you feeling? Let me know in the comments. Let's get right into it. Let's not have any suspense. Controversial January decision from Ratcliffe might alienate more United fans. And why? Why is this, guys? Because Man United part owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe is set to make another controversial decision, which is likely to see fans feel even more alienated. With Marcus Rashford potentially one of 3 players leaving in the current window, Barcelona is the preferred destination and apparently has given the Catalan Giants a deadline by which he wants the deal to be done. It's going to be very interesting. Kobe Mainoo's interesting situation as well could ultimately see him end up at Bayern Munich, while Alejandro Garnacho is believed to be unhappy with his lot on the Amorim. But guys, there are lots of contrary reports coming out right now, and it might be interesting to say that some of them are false, some of them are pure opinion pieces, while others, guys, I can say, yeah, it's not likely. But what I can say about Garnacho, let's talk about Garnacho, because there are reports coming out that the agent-driven Man United winger Garnacho move to Napoli is squashed. Squashed, they say. And that's because Alejandro Garnacho may not be heading there after all. Despite the widespread rumors of the Argentine was inching closer to move to Serie A, but it's been reported that these speculation is believed to be driven by the agent largely. They also say that the club is likely to not entertain any offers for this player in this window because it was not part of the plan. You know what I'm saying, guys? Now, reports have suggested that Napoli have submitted a £40 million opening bid for Garnacho, but this was not sufficient for the club to let him leave. However, reports are saying that there was no official bid. And that's the interesting thing, guys. And while I would say that, for me, if we got a bid for £60 million in the current climate, I won't be opposed to the deal. Big up to Shea in the building and big up to Joe Blackman. He hasn't done anything. But what Ratcliffe is interested in doing is possibly driving the sales of these players. And the report of the controversial decision is that Ratcliffe is the one in charge who's thinking maybe it would be best to sell these 3 players to recoup funds to continuously rebuild the squad. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Would you accept the sale of Kobe Mainoo, Garnacho, and Rashford if it brings Manchester United into the new era with new life, new signings under Amorim? What are your thoughts? Big up to Abdullah Irwan in the building. Big up to you, my bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to say, says Abdullah. Must sell one. Garnacho, 70 million bid incoming. Hayden, I don't know about that one, bro. I haven't been hearing anything about any 70 million bid. What I have been hearing is that Napoli might be going in for Jamie Bino Gittins of Dortmund because he is on the market for 35 million euros. That's the interesting news that's coming out right now. However, there is some reports coming that we were interested in signing a centre-back in this window, but the recent form of Harry Maguire has squashed the decision to bring in a brand new centre-back. Indeed, Harry Maguire is the red in question. He's enjoyed a superb run of form, even amidst a turbulent period for the club. The centre-half has been given a new lease of life under Amorim's newly implemented 3-4-3 system, which the boss admitted earlier in his tenure that Maguire was perfect for. Maguire is perfect when you play 3 defenders, says Amorim, After his first Manchester Derby victory, he's perfect in the middle. All the guys defended very well, not just Harry. They were very focused. However, the reports that he's only suddenly been getting form right now is not true. We all know that last season he was one of our best defenders despite having some moments of injury. He was player of the month for more than 2 times. And that's just the interesting part, guys. Because you know what? Manchester United would like to make some move. Yeah, Kolo Muani is going to Juve. This is some other news. Yo, Abdullah, you got the score from my show this morning. We are selling the club now. The question is for how long? Brother, we are selling club now. The question is for how long? Is that interesting? I don't think we'll be going after this player unless it's a summer move, my bro, because at £84 million for the release clause of this player, it's going to be a huge deal to do. There are lots of deals that are possible, and I would love this guy, to be honest, bro. Like, this guy, Gonzalo Ignacio, interesting players, even a Giovanni Quenda. When I talked about him, remember, bro, everyone was like, who is this little guy? Maybe it might be interesting. I would think that the priority is a left wing back and possibly a defensive midfielder. And that's what we're looking at right now in the current settings of things. I think there's a lot to be done. There's a lot of possibilities, guys. And right now, I think the most important thing is that United get the business done. What is more important? It's not about the wants. It's about the necessities, guys. You know what I mean? Joe, we on the same boat, bro. Bring me Ignacio. I know the left side will be covered for now. You know, I think getting someone in the midfield would be crucial to our push to getting a better finish this season or winning the Europa League, continue our trend upwards going into the rounds of the FA Cup. I mean, we might not be getting top 4, but guys, we could certainly be winning the Europa League and getting ourselves a FA Cup trophy in a back-to-back season. I don't see why we can't do it. It's a cup, and you know what? On the day, we can beat anyone. We've showed it against Arsenal. It's going to be very interesting. You know, there were reports coming out that we were in for selling Altay Bayindé, and I keep telling men, this is not possible because he just came in. The price he came in for was reasonable. He's a backup goalkeeper. And with the performance that he gave in against Arsenal, it's looking more likely that he's here to stay and going to be fierce competition for Onana. You know, to be fair, guys, whether we like Onana or not, he is the number 1. But having a number 2 like Altay Bayindé showing good form and great performances like he did is going to be pushing Onana. Hopefully it helps him to get much better than he already is at shot stopping, because you know what? If these 2 guys could push each other, work together, and work well for Man United, why do we need to shop for more? Why? You know what I mean? The Marcio news said about Rashford today at 3 p.m. Let's see how it goes, because what I can tell you is that he is there. He's supposed to have had a medical. There were reports that he failed the medical, but those reports were also not entirely true. So it's going to be left to be seen. There's reports that he actually is prioritizing a move to Barcelona, and the Catalan Giants are coming in, and their offer is to take him on full wages and also possibly an obligation to buy in the summer. What are your thoughts? Let me know, because you know what, guys, for me, some moves needs to be done. And let's be honest, Garnacho would not be dependent on being a starter, being that guy, if Marcus Rashford was doing his job. If he was doing his job as the senior attacking player in the squad, we would not have to be dependent on the likes of a Garnacho, would we? If he was leading the line, maybe, I dare say, the development of Højlund might be even better than it is right now. Now, this is where the difficulty lies for Manchester United, guys, because how do we change the squad? How do we do it? And how do we work without, you know, the normal financial power that we always had? And that's the interesting part, because no matter how we want to swing it, guys, of course, we are Man United. We're supposed to have that club that could afford any player. But right now, we are sell to buy. And that's the interesting thing. We need a new spine from goalkeeper all the way to striker. I don't know if I agree with that one, bro. Unless you're willing to sell Onana to make room for a brand new goalkeeper, bro, I don't think that's going to be a possibility. I think if that's going to happen, Onana is going to be on the chopping block. You know what I mean? Why have two number ones? I don't think they would sell the cheaper goalkeeper in Altai Bayern there to then buy another top goalkeeper to be a number one. I don't think that's going to be the situation. You know what I mean? But we definitely need a new central defensive midfielder who can come in just in case, because as we can see, the FA is currently investigating what happened with Ugarte and Kai Havertz during the FA Cup game, and there's been reported a 3-match ban could be coming. It's looming right now. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things, guys. We have to be patient. I know that we would love to be winning every single game right now, but we're in a rebuild. And I know saying that makes me sound like I'm not the highest standard of fan, but what I can say is that patience sometimes is what we need. Haste makes waste, and we can see it. You know, the want to compete for the title in a rebuild is a little bit extraordinary, guys. I mean, Man United should be always competing for top 4 and a threat for a title challenge every season, no matter where we are, what league we're playing in. But right now, the rebuild is long, guys. The rebuild is long. And with Amorim coming in, more work needs to be done. More work needs to be done. And the only thing I can say about that is that no matter what we say or what we do or what we want, it could only happen the way it's happening right now. Now, we wish that they would make better decisions. We wish that they would do it in a way that's more efficient, that we could say, oh, this is perspective. This is efficient. We like this. Maybe the funds don't allow for that. You know what I mean? We would like creative signings, but when we sign some players and we say they're for development, you know, fans tend to say that we need a more experienced player. We should have a bagsman. We should have a guy who's ready now. And that's the interesting thing that, for me, guys, yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum, I would say. You know what I mean? Smash the likes, guys. Of course, you know, it helps the channel grow. Road to 2K is here. If we can get there, 470 subs away. Come on, guys. I know we can do it. Let's get there. Big up to you guys. Murillo is a beast, and I would love to sign him as well, Abdullah. He's an interesting player. Not even him, just him. Robinson from Fulham. Interesting left wing back, up and down the field. Very good defensively. Not only that, but he can get in. He creates a lot of chances in attack as well. It's going to be interesting, and he's not that expensive. However, we know the number one target is Milos Kerkez, and Milos Kerkez is one of those players who is the epitome of what we should need. He's very quick, powerful, pacey, and he knows what he's doing. He's Premier League proven. But the cost of such a player is going to be somewhere in the region of 60+ million pounds. That is where the problems and struggles lie for Manchester United in this current moment, because you know what, guys? You don't have the funds. It's either FFP is not going to allow it, or we don't have the money, or we're planning to sell first before we could buy players. And that's the stressful thing. It's stressful, frustrating. We can't talk about patience. Me have been that from 2013 to 2025. Now, Rasmus Højlund is not. Bro, I understand, but the 10 years that you've been waiting is not his problem. It's not his fault. Nor is it Amorim's problem. Nor is it his fault. So this is where I'm like, I understand you. I don't think Rasmus Højlund should be leading the line for United, but he does have the potential to be a striker that could lead the line. He is of a certain quality of player. Now, we needed to get a senior striker who's ready now. That's the problem. But that's not Rasmus's fault. And as much as I agree with you on we need a senior striker who's ready now, we still have to be understanding to the fact that, yeah, we can't be that club that just buys players for 80, 90 million because they're ready now. You know what I mean? We got to have a bit of both. We got to have balance. We used to do it before. The only difference was the experienced players, they did their job. They showed up week in, week out. and they gave performances of the Man United level. Now it's a bit more difficult, and this is why, you know, a lot of players, even the players that we know have come in for the development, going to be extra scrutinized, and we will expect a lot more from them than they really can give consistently in this moment. It's difficult times for United, guys, but like I said, you got to be patient. You know what I mean? Good morning, all. Why don't we sign a player like Antoine Semenyo? Perfect Garnacho Rashford replacement. Antoine Semenyo is an interesting player. I definitely wouldn't mind that guy. You know what I mean? Or even the likes of the guy from Brentford. What's his name? Mbuemo. Those two guys are quite impressive for me. Would not mind getting them. They can play that 10-role second striker kind of. They could even work on the wings. So it will be interesting to see if we can adapt that situation. And we've seen Semenyo this season. He's been in scintillating form for Bournemouth. He's one of their top scorers this season. You know, he does really well in my FPL. So it's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? That's the interesting part. And like I said, guys, as a United fan, we should be getting the best. You know, it's just dealing with getting the best and the circumstances that is currently of our club right now. Yeah, we did bought him for 75 million, but that's not his fault. I mean, how many of us were complaining that we spent 40 million on Ahmad 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, only to be now seeing fruits of that right now? And this is what I keep explaining to guys. The inflation, if you multiply it for 3 years and you add it to that 40 million euros, it's really equivalent to the 75 million we paid for Rasmus Højlund. It's just the cost, the climate. It's no one's fault other than the ones who made the decision to spend that figure. And this is the difficult situation that we find ourselves, because we look at money and we expect value, and that is fair, 100%. You know what I mean? But let's be honest, bro. You know what I'm saying? He would be a great as a left wing back. Yeah, I think he would be very interesting, that Semenyo guy. You know, watching him not only then, but I saw him in the AFCON and he performed really, really well. And I was like impressed, very impressed with him. Jarvis, what I would like to ask your thoughts on is that other young left wing back signing that we might be possibly interested in, and it's Nenny Dorgelli, the youngster who's coming out of Mali, 22 years old, plays for RB Salzburg. What are your thoughts on him? I haven't seen much of him myself, but from the clips I've seen, I think he has the mentality, he has the physicality and the pace, and he has a lot of technical ability. Will he be successful in the league? That's the only thing I think is left to be seen, the only uncertainty. But at 20 million euros, would it be a bad deal to do? I think it would be an amazing deal to do. What are your thoughts, Jarvis? Let me know in the comments. Anyone who has an opinion on Nenny Dorgelli, let me know as well. You know, the young Malian, very, very interesting player. You know, I watched some clips and I'm like, he looks interesting. Salzburg, of course, is playing this weekend. I will definitely be trying to catch that game, as long as it's not at the same time as Manchester United. And maybe I'll do a watch along so we can talk about his performance. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, because I think it would be fun. I don't know, guys, but there's a lot of interesting situations and options for Manchester United. And I think we should be continuing along this path. With Amorim here, you know, I think not getting a marquee signing right now in the sense of an 80 million pound player is not going to kill us. You know, this is what he looks like, Jarvis, just in case. You know, this is this guy. Let me show you. This guy. This is the player that I'm talking about, Jarvis. He's an interesting talent. You know, I'm going to do some scouting and check him out some more. But I think he reminds me of a sort of similar profile of that player who plays at Bayern Leverkusen, Frimpong. So that's why I think he might work. I just watched some clips, but the way he approaches himself, his confidence, the type of play he has, if he can express that in the Premier League, given a full season, I think he could develop into something interesting. Big up to Deliso in the building. Please, I want Gyökeres, Nuno Mendes, Kirkes, Edison, Araujo to United. It's better for 2025. Well, unless you're talking about the young Araujo who plays for Sporting Lisbon, I can tell you now that Barcelona's central defensive midfielder is on his way to Juventus, and the deal could be done as soon as tomorrow or Friday. That's the disappointing thing for me. I've only heard about his fee being high from you. I've never heard it elsewhere. Well, I mean, 31 million pounds for 18-year-old at the time was very expensive, my guy. You know what I mean? 31 million pounds. And to be fair, I'm not criticizing the guy or anything. I'm just saying if you look at inflation over 3 years, you're probably going to add 8 or so odd million to each of those years and a half, which brings you somewhere in the region of 60, 70 million pounds. And if you convert what we spent on Rasmus, it is 65 million pounds. He has not achieved any of the add-ons just yet. So he's only been here for one full season. I mean, this is his second season. You know, the team itself is not doing that much better to create for Rasmus. They create little. Of course, we expect him to develop better, but at the same time, patience, guys. Check him out on FBFref. He's tall, strong, great dribbler, carrier of the ball, and on top of all, he's brilliant and hardworkingly defensively, blocks, clearances, and aerials won in the 99th percentile. Jarvis, the United scouting is doing a good job. You know what I mean? Check out Atlantis Football. He did a breakdown of the Salzburg player. I don't know. Feels he's the wrong profile. Extremely raw. I'll check it out today. Jarvis. Thank you for that. Big up. We are talking about selling Rashford and Garnacho, but if it's up to me, Anthony and Rasmus needs to be out first. How would we spend in the transfer window if we sell those two players? Most likely selling them at a loss. We won't be able to spend. We don't even have more than possibly 120 million of headroom right now that we can spend. If we sell Anthony, that's probably going to be a loss of 45 million pounds. That reduces the headroom to 75 million that we could actually spend. If we lose on Rasmus Højlund, that's a further drop in headroom. Even if money comes in, we could only spend a maximum of probably 50, 60 million if we sold those two players at a loss. And this is the weird thing. I don't disagree with selling players who have not been performing. My only thing is it's going to be difficult, especially when the FFP problem is real. You know what I mean? It's not, bro. It really isn't. Because 40 million in 2020 is like 70 million in 2024, my bro. I think it's fair to say that if you were buying any one of those players back then, you would have probably played around 30, 40, max 50 million for those players. And I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a situation where, you know, you can't not think about it like that, because at the end of the day, it's supply and demand. When the money figures come in, you don't just offer 40, 50 million. It's based on the current market's inflation. And this is what we know. With players like Rice and Grealish going for 100+ million, I mean, I'm not too disappointed in that, to be fair. Like, I know Anthony has not performed. Of course, if he was, you know, up for sale, we get 45, 50 million. Do you think I would not accept it? I probably would. Because that brings us that young raw talent that maybe we could work on, and it also brings us a defender. It would be good to sell a player like that who's not performing. I'm not opposed to it. But the problem is that we have to think about the profit and loss situation, especially with the fact that we have the FFP issues. PSR is no joke. And of course, if we bought players and we breach PSR, as long as those players perform well, losing 6 points, I wouldn't care. But at the same time, it's not a wild statement, bro. Inflation is inflation, bro. We are a football club, but we are run as a business by Jim Ratcliffe, my bro. We're being run as a business. All the cuts that he's been making, football clubs don't do those things, bro. Have you ever heard of Real Madrid doing those things? Bayern Munich, Juventus, AC Milan, even when they got relegated to the third tier, they didn't do those things. So this is what I'm saying, guys. You can't want to be a football club and want to be a business at the same time. It's either we're a football club or not. And at a football club, you develop players as well. You buy players based on potential, whatever you pay for them based on the current market structure and scheme, and however it works out, it works out. It's a 3-year plan. That's how it goes. You know what I mean? And this is the problem. Yeah, I'm a fan, but you got to keep a balanced approach to the situation, bro. Big up to Overhead Cape TV in the building. Big up, my bro. Hope you're well. My problem is, says Jay, when clubs were recruiting all these hidden gems, bro. Refusing them, refusing them. We refuse Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Alvaro. We refuse this guy, Julian Alvarez. We refused Luis Diaz. We refused Gavardiol. We refused Nkunku. Guys, come on, man. We refused so many of these talented young talents and opted to purchase players of more value because they were the ones that were doing big things currently at the time when those players were available under Ragnick for a total fee of less than £60 million, I have to add, guys. And now we all say we should have gotten those players. It's going to be interesting. Guys, sorry. My phone actually died. I didn't realize. Hold on, let me just plug in the charger 1 second. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. Yeah, guys, sorry about that. So I'm back. My camera should turn on in like a few seconds. How often do you buy a player of a high price who is shit when he came in and turn him into a world beater? That's an interesting question, my bro. And to be fair, bro, this is something that we should be doing. It's one of those things where I feel like, we have not been doing the best job of securing talent at an early stage and developing it. But it's not always the club's fault that players don't develop. Sometimes it's the players that don't develop themselves. Sometimes it's the pressure that we or as fans put on the players that also make it difficult for players to reach their full potential. Because if you look at clubs like Bournemouth, like the likes of, Aston Villa and other clubs, these clubs don't expect to win every game like Manchester United. These clubs aren't the clubs that really and these clubs, like I'm saying, right? It's one of those things. We tend to blame the club for not developing players, but realistically, how do we blame the club alone for not being able to develop a player? I think it's a little bit one-sided to say players, it's the club who doesn't develop the player alone. I think players owe a certain responsibility to their own development. They have to work hard. They have to be better. They have to want to be the best that they can possibly be. And this is where, the money that the clubs pay for players, what we award them and reward them with, and their drive and their own determination and their own goals meet in the middle. And that's the situation, guys. And that's where I am at with this. You know what I mean? No one is going to buy Anthony. Costs too much money. Joe O'Connell, I totally agree there. Maybe if he was to have an amazing last 6 months of the season, might be bring a value, might raise his level, might raise the interest, might see some more clubs come in. There are clubs who are interested on a loan, but some of them have an issue with paying his salary. So, this is one of those things. High market prices. But the thing is, Hayden, high market prices kill most players, right? But here the problem with the high market prices, right? We buy a player for our club. He is not the finished article. If we protect that player and we as the fans don't discuss the price that we paid for him, at least for the first 18 months, knowing that we bought a player to develop, I think it takes pressure off of the player. I think we alleviate half of the stress that some of these players are having. I don't know. I could be wrong, guys. You can tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Ashworth, I don't know why he got sacked, bro. To be honest, I was one of those ones that didn't want this guy as the DOF, anyways. You know what I mean? But maybe he had a disagreement with Ratcliffe because, to be fair, my bro, like maybe Dan Ashworth was saying we should have a little bit of patience with this project. Maybe we should slow things down. And maybe everyone was saying, no, we can do better right now. You know what I mean? It's controversial. It's a bit the Ashford thing. It's too speculative for me. I might not have liked the guy. He might have wanted Garrett Southgate, and that might have been a reason. But I can't really say that with chest because I don't know factually if that's why he got fired. All we know is that the decision was mutual. The direction he wanted to go and the direction the club wanted to go were two different things, and he had to part ways. And that's the situation. It's the club's fault because they scouted the player and they negotiated a fee and agreed the wage. I don't know, bro. You know, as an employee of a company myself, I negotiated a really good wage for myself, but I know that I have to work hard to earn that money. I have to do my best. I have to always come up with something more creative. I always have to get a job done and smile, provide good customer service and whatnot, because you might be interacting with the clients, who are hiring your business to do whatnot and whatnot, whatever industry you're in. It's a lot to do, guys. You always have to be trying to best your best. And not everyone has that approach. You know what I mean? There's some people who thinks they get a job and they just do the bare minimum. They just go to work, they do the minimum what's expected, they go home. They keep their jobs. Do they get promotions? I don't know. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where I still feel like it's not just on the club, it's also on the player as well, because if you're that talented, you can't not have a goal to not want to be the best in your position in the world. And if you don't have that goal, maybe you're not right fit for Man United. Maybe the problem is, some of these players are good, but they don't want to be the best in the world. Maybe it's that. That could be a problem as well. We don't do nothing much in January, only 2 weeks left, and we still messed around. Bro, it's disappointing. It's what can I say? The sell to buy was real. When I talked about it 2 weeks ago, everyone laughs. They said that Sir Jim said he's gonna invest 200 million. We got 200 million to spend. And I was like, that's not what it sounds like coming out from the sources that I have. And it's like weird because I look at it from the perspective as a fan who's excited and was excited for us to do some business in this January window. I would have loved for us to get Kvaratskhelia on a swap deal for Marcus Rashford. You know what I mean? I might not have loved for us to spend 80 million on him, but I would have loved to swap him for Marcus Rashford. I'm being honest. You know what I mean? I would have loved to get that guy from Atalanta, Edison, into our midfield as an option or a starter, whether he rotates with Ugarte or Kobe Menu. I'm not opposed to either, but having him come into the squad would have definitely improved us. I would have loved to have Alvaro Fernandez coming on January 1st because we have a buyback clause for 8 million. It's basically we got 8 million from him and they won 16. So we actually are only paying 8 million for the player. We can't get him. Have we gotten him? Only 16 million euros, guys. Come on, we can afford that, but we haven't done anything. You know, instead we're looking at the likes of Mendes, who's probably going to cost us something like 58 million euros. 58 million euros. There's this young guy from Girona. Everyone wanted him last summer. Miguel Gutierrez. He's got a 30 million euro release clause. You can go in and snap him like that. And he wants to leave. It's interesting. Yeah, bro. If you don't live up to your expectations, your boss can be sacked because it was his decision to sign multiple guys who are not good at their job. Dan Ashford signed 5 players, bro. Of the 5 players that he signed, the weakest link is Joshua Zirkzee. I think he had as much as I don't like the guy, he had a brilliant window. 4 of the 5 players that he brought into the team, everyone loves them. Mazraoui has been one of our best players of the season. De Ligt looking like the captain of the team. You know what I mean? Ugarte is vital to our midfield situation in this current moment. I don't even know. I don't even know how to argue and say that Dan Ashford did a shit job in the transfer window. I think his biggest mistake was signing Zirkzee and not an experienced striker, but Zirkzee is turning out to be, he might be an interesting player. It's interesting. It's kind of hard to pinpoint where he went wrong, unless, you know, it was on the decision to keep Erik ten Hag, which might be the case. You know what I mean? Napoli want Garnacho and we're selling Kvara for 70 million pounds. Why didn't we do a swap deal? Do you actually think Napoli would sell Kvara in a swap deal for Garnacho? And they weren't actually selling Kvara. Kvara is being sold because PSG went in with an offer and the player wants to go to PSG. And actually, PSG is going to have to fork out another 10 million euros because Napoli just asked for 10 more. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know what they value Garnacho at, but we have not received a bid of anything near 40 or 50 million pounds. And I think that's the baseline value that United are expecting for that player. You know what I mean? I don't really think Napoli was more interested in Garnacho than they were in Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford was their prime target. And because maybe whatever the negotiations wasn't working out, maybe he wants to go to Spain, like has been reported earlier on. He wants to go to La Liga. Yeah, maybe that's the interesting thing. If the club wanted Alvaro Fernandez back, they would buy him. Exactly. So it's just weird. This is Ineos. They want to do things on the cheap. If they wanted to do things on the cheap, why would they be buying Nuno Mendes for 58 million euros? Not the guy from Girona for like 20 or 30. Alvaro Fernandez for 8. I don't know. Almac, we have a buyback clause. They paid us 8 million pounds. We pay them, we literally would have to pay them 8 million pounds because we would give them back the 8 that they paid and we would give them 8. So it's basically us paying 8 million pounds for the player. It's not more than that. That's actually what's going to come out of our pockets. So I don't know. I don't know. Even if they sell him, I don't know. Who's going to play our left wing back role? Who? I don't know, guys. This is the problem. We have a lot of top players, but we don't have any left wing backs. Unless Anthony starts starting in that role and does well, I don't know, guys. I don't know. But what I can say is we need to do some business. We need to get someone in the midfield. And imagine saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to do things on the cheap, yet we are being repeatedly linked to players like this guy who wants 18 million a year. 18 million a year. It's weird. It's weird that people even make that argument because Alphonso Davies is reported to be negotiating for 18 to 20 million a year from Bayern Munich. It's why their contract have been stalled. But then the reports are Man United are targeting Alphonso Davies. So are we really going to pay this guy 300K a week to play for Man United? as a defender? Is he even that good? I don't know. Ratcliffe is doing some weird things, guys. Some weird things Ratcliffe is doing. It's difficult. For me, I'm of the the impression that we are in a crisis for money. You know, we've cut funds to all the different foundations that we sponsor. We've hiked the ticket prices. There's no longer any difference between the prices of tickets for adults, kids, and disabled people at Man United. They're all the same price now, £60. Yeah, what are we gonna do? I don't even agree. I agree with your comment here. Nuno Mendes is not a good deal. We could get Alvaro and Ignacio together for the same price. Nice. This is weird. Luke and Mason will be fit. What does that do, bro? Mason Mount is best off the football. What does that do? What is a number 10 who's best off the football? He's not a number 10. The guy could barely stay fit for 6 weeks at a time. It's the same for Luke Shaw. Those two brothers need to get out of Manchester United. They are the epitome of a waste of money and time. But maybe, for me, I know, bro, but, for me, it's like, bro, what are we doing? We bought a hospital mate for Luke Shaw when we bought Mason Mount. We bought a guy to keep him company on the hospital bed. It's the weirdest thing. But anyway, guys, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna take up your mornings because this morning hasn't had much good news. And I'm actually frustrated with the window because there were reports that we could have done some exciting business. You know what I mean? And I feel like Man United has not pushed. I honestly feel like they have not did their best to deliver a transfer window that we could be proud of. I thought they could have done much better in this January window, bro. Swear to you, man. Like there were so much available options that good business deals that we could have done, and they haven't done anything. They've just been haggling and haggling and haggling, bro. I heard we are thinking, brother, yo, is it me or is this Jim Ratcliffe bringing the Manchester back to Manchester, bro? Because apparently we're not going to buy young, fit players. We're going to buy injury-prone English players. I don't know, bro. I'm mad at this guy. Bro, if this guy comes in, guys, I'm in your out. I'm telling you. On every stream, from now on, I would be in your out. In your out. I can't see Amarim wanting this guy in his squad. Really and truly, I swear to you. I can't see Amarim wanting this guy. Can you? Ben Chilwell. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, that really, yeah, bro. You're in us right now. Stress. Big up to Stephanie Griffith in the building. I just, thank you for popping in, Stephanie. You made, just Ben Chilwell. I can't unsee that, bro. Guys, thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure to have to bring this little bit of transfer information and update for you guys. Of course, I would have loved to bring you more interesting news. I wouldn't even take him for free, bro. If he came in and said I would play for free, you don't need to pay a transfer fee. I'm just coming to play. I would never even look at Ben Chilwell, bro. He's injury prone. He's worse than Luke Shaw. He's not even a good defender, to be fair. Like, I have left to be seen Ben Chilwell play 5-6 games in amazing form. He does not impress me. You know what I mean? There's no way we should be looking at those guys. The fact that we are even looking at Ben Chilwell is a disgrace. Miguel Gutierrez is better than that guy. And he's fit consistently as well. Yeah. Dalot is better than Ben Chilwell. I kid you not. Ben Chilwell is going to come in. If he comes in at 3 weeks after the window shuts, people are going to be saying we should have just started the low. We should not get this guy. I'm telling you. The guy is a walking meme. And when I say a meme, I mean one for mistakes in the back. Because if you look at lots of the goals that Chelsea conceded when this guy is playing, he's always at the fault. Collier, I think Collier should be playing some games. I think he could come in as a substitute. I know I've been saying this since early on in the season. You know what I mean? I would start Collier over Mason Mount. That's just me. Because I don't ever see the value in Mason Mount. He does nothing for United other than run up and down. I think Collier is better on the ball than that guy, in what I can see with my eyes. In the games that Collier has played, for me, he's looked better than Mason Mount. You know, if we want a guy just to run up and down and press, better we just play Collier than Mason Mount. Like, why? Why even consider Mason Mount? $65 million for a guy who could run up and down and press well. Yo, that is the weirdest thing. And Joe, check him out. Jarvis, Tactical Devils, Monday nights. The show is back. Of course, the other night they had this amazing referee from the PGMOL live on their stream, guys. Definitely go to the Tactical Devils channel. Check that stream out. Lots of information, lots of gems dropped by that guy. Very respectable. I admired him from the moment I heard him start speaking because he sounded like one of those guys that wants the same things we all want. We all want that guy. I wish that guy was back as the head of PGML after I finished watching that stream. I'm telling you now. The guy sounded like he knew all the issues that were happening now. He foresaw it. I'm telling you. It was a really interesting stream. Big up to Jarvis. Thank you for having that stream, my bro. Hayden Pro, 55 million for exactly, bro. 55 million for a guy who probably played like 20 or 30 games in 2 years. That's crazy. What's the point? What's the point? What's the point? You know what I mean? I'd rather stick with the low. Trust me, guys. I know Dalot is getting us upset, but we know for one fact he's not a left back. He's not a left wing back. He's a right back, right wing back option that's playing off the left. But I'm going to take and stick my neck out and say he's better than Ben Chilwell, who is left sided on the left. That's just me. You know what I mean? That show was you clearly don't remember the bad call when the guy was in charge. Hadon was in charge. I don't think so, Sean, because you know what? I think the current state of the PGMOL is trash, is atrocious. I think what they're currently doing is embarrassing the name of the Premier League, and the quality of refereeing has certainly dropped 100%. It's not even improved 5%. Actually, it's went back 95% back into the dark ages. Subjectivity should never be the call that they allow referees to make. You cannot have 15 different referees making 15 different calls for the same play. It's a madness. Where's the consistency? You can't want a team to be consistent, but the refs are allowed to be inconsistent week in, week out. If there are 10 games playing today, you're going to get 10 different calls or versions of a call in those games for the same actual problem. How is that positive? It's embarrassing. This guy, Keith Hackett, he said it. You know, referees need to be more hands-on. They need to list, they need to be more directing. You know, VAR shouldn't be telling a ref this is a red card or this is a penalty. The ref should just be clearly saying, we have the information. Now, yo, let me see what's happening. I go to the screen, play the clips from all three angles. Shut up. The VAR shouldn't be arguing. That's a red card in the background. Like that's corrupt, bro. That's corrupt. No, what I'm talking about is happening currently, Sean. Because I don't know if you're an Arsenal fan or a Liverpool fan or a Man City fan, but if you look at some of the calls that happened in those teams' games in the last couple season and a half, It's been a shambles. It's been embarrassing. And as a fan who watches games live and on the television, you can't tell me that you see players flopping like Rodri, like when Jack Grealish handles the ball against Chelsea, like Christopher, like Romero handling the ball multiple times, some of the tackles that they make, like McAllister drop kicking players and not receiving yellow cards and red cards. Oh, because subjectively their team is in a high position in the league, so maybe they didn't intend to. You know what I mean? This is crazy. This is insane. You know what I mean? No matter if your team is number one, you could be in a home game. You know, like if McAllister drop kicks a player or his cleats end up on a player's chest and the player is standing, he should be sent off, my bro. You know what I mean? We keep getting exactly. We keep getting, like forget us alone. There are many other teams that don't get the proper calls against teams like Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal, and Tottenham Hotspurs. Yet those teams would get those calls against every single team in the league. It's almost as though we need to investigate those teams for match fixing. Maybe with the PGML help, because maybe someone is trying to create a narrative that those teams are the only teams with FIFA fair play when they don't even look it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at Arsenal, some of the tackles they make. Gabriel Jesus should have had a yellow card, if not a red card in that game. He's off the ground, colliding with Bruno. The refs doesn't even card him. Doesn't even card him. Of course, he injures himself, but since when a reckless action is persecution is stopped by you feigning injury? Only happens to those teams. People talk about Bruno talking back to the ref, but there's many pictures of many games, even the game recently of Haaland and the likes of Man City players screaming at the referee, but they don't get yellow carded. Why is that? Oh no, Bruno is annoying, right? Maybe. But guys, you know, I just leave it up to that. Check out Jarvis's stream. Keith Hackett was brilliant. Trust me, I think he was saying some interesting things. I think you could listen to it and get your own determination, and you could find out what you think about it yourself, and maybe we can talk about it. It's refreshing to hear a referee with common sense speak. And this is honest coming from the heart, from me, not just from what Jarvis is saying, but common sense makes more sense than speculation, and objectivity will always supersede subjectivity, because it's not just how you feel about something, it's the reality of all things considered. So be objective. Don't be like the referees in the Premier League, subjective. It makes you look lame. You know what I mean? Kia had his hands around, yeah, bro. Kai had his hands, bro. All I'm saying, if not for subjectivity, maybe Kai Havertz might have been sent off. Maybe Ugarte might have also got sent off. In which case, he did headbutt the guy. You know what I mean? But the guy should not have put his hands around his throat. I mean, Casemiro grabbed that guy's collar and missed 3 games. Let's wait for Kai to get suspended for 3 games. If he doesn't, then maybe Keith Hackett was right. Trust me. Have a wonderful day, guys. We'll be back at 1:30 UK with the manager's press conference live. Join me. Let's hear what Ruben Amra has to say as we get prepared to take on Southampton tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting one. Come on, join. Don't forget, smash a like, share it around. The road to 2K is here. Of course, I'm 400 and something odd subs away, but with your help, guys, I know I can get there. Big up to all of you watching. It's been a pleasure to bring this information for you. Hope you have a wonderful day. Your boy Mark N. Peace out.